Okay, well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Michael Gault. I'm the practice group manager with the Bell, Carrington, Price, and Gregg eminent domain team. I'd like to thank you for being here for this week's town hall, whether you're joining us live or watching this recording at a later time and date. Either way, I appreciate your time and attention and your willingness to learn more about this project and how it might impact your property. For this week's installment, if you're here with us, you know that we are here to talk about the North Carolina Highway 88 and 194 improvements project. This is a project that has been in the works for some time. And unfortunately, it's a project that's going to impact a number of landowners. The latest estimates show nearly 80 impacted parcels. When I say impacted parcels, that's really getting to the meat of what we're talking about here this evening. If you live, work, or are familiar with this stretch of roadway, you know that anytime that we go to widen or add lanes to this stretch of road, or certainly to add traffic circles or to do bridge replacement projects, due to the proximity of the current parcels to Highway 88 in particular, some of those private parcels are going to be impacted, meaning portions of them will need to be taken to increase the new right-of-way. Portions of them may need to be taken to allow for new easements, utility or otherwise. And so it's important that if you're an impacted landowner, which if you received a letter or a postcard from our firm, it means that our indication is that you are an impacted landowner. It's important to realize your rights, to know your rights, and to know the procedure of an eminent domain taking from the beginning to the end. And that's why we're here today. I just want to be able to provide a high-level view for you and some general information about how eminent domain and condemnation work. Now, I'm unable to give legal advice in a setting like this, which is why I've included our contact information over in the chat box. Feel free to reach out directly by phone or email or at our website, bellcarringtoneminentdomain.com. There are a number of ways there to reach us directly. You can schedule appointments. You can fill out a fillable form that will allow us to reach you and to just have those more detailed one-on-one conversations where a member of our team can give you legal advice, can tell you how to engage us as a firm to represent you in a case like this. And most importantly, they can dive down to tell you what they believe the impact to your property will actually look like. What is eminent domain? That's the one question that we get early on. And why is it applicable to me? Well, eminent domain, put simply, refers to the government's right to take private property for a public purpose. There's very little question when you're talking about roadway projects like this that it's for a public purpose. It's so that the public can use it. Presumably, according to the department, they can drive more safely, more efficiently, and to allow for increased traffic in the area. And so the question then becomes, does the government have the right of eminent domain taking on my property? And the short answer to that, generally speaking, is yes. Although you as landowners, you certainly have rights. And the most important of those is the right to just compensation. And put simply, that just basically means that even though the government oftentimes has the right to take private property for a public purpose, they have to pay you, the landowner, fairly and adequately for what they're taking from you. Unfortunately, the determination or the calculation of what that amount looks like is really never easy. It's not black and white. It's not linear, AB equals C. It's often a complicated analysis, and that's where our team of attorneys and back of house office folks that do this all the time come in to help analyze and identify and ultimately negotiate for you to make sure that you're paid the fair market value of what you lose as a result of this taking, along with the damages to the remainder of your property. Those are often overlooked items that, depending on the type of the property and the type of taking, can be significant. And if you are quick to settle a case without the right folks in your corner with experience, then you're probably doing yourself a disservice and probably ultimately accepting less money than you should have received as a result of this project. Generally speaking, when we send these letters and we send these mailers, we generally follow the government by a few weeks to a few months when it comes time for their initial communication regarding a taking. The way that this process works is at some point they're going to reach out to you to let you know that your property is impacted, that an appraiser is likely coming down the road to do an inspection, and then you're going to receive an offer. And that really starts the process. There is a time there for negotiation. Hopefully, many of you will be able to resolve those cases through negotiation without the need for condemnation. But that leads us into our next step. Condemnation in a project like this means that the government can file a document with the court and then deposit some money with the court that gives them the legal right to access the property and to begin construction on the property that they are claiming. That doesn't mean that negotiation is over. Oftentimes, that negotiation then is just beginning, and that allows our team to step in to work with an attorney representing the Department of Transportation to ultimately try to resolve the case through settlement and negotiation. But if not, your ultimate right as a landowner is a right to a jury trial. And that's from beginning to end, that is an entirely long and complicated process that may never result, but that is your ultimate right as a landowner. And it's important to know that you have that right when it comes to negotiating at the initial stages of a case like this. Now, I mentioned experience. When somebody from the department reaches out to you, be that a right-of-way agent, an employee, or a third-party agent, they will be experienced. They will be knowledgeable in eminent domain cases. Likely, this is what they do all day, every day, much like our firm. And likely, many of you have never had to experience an eminent domain project before. And so it's easy to be caught off guard. It's easy to be pressured into signing something quickly without having somebody in your corner who is also experienced. And that's where our team at Bell Carrington comes in. We know the process. We know the procedure. We oftentimes know the players involved from both sides. And so we're able to walk our clients hand in hand through the initial stages of offer making, offer analyzation, damage identification, the initial negotiation, and ultimately through the condemnation process if and when we get to that stage. I say all of that to say these projects are complicated. There's oftentimes big money on the table that you may miss out on if you're not well represented. These cases involve residential impacts, commercial impacts, potentially industrial impacts. And depending on the nature and the impact to your property, you could miss something. And this is your one bite at the apple to make sure that your damages are accounted for and that the value that you're owed for the taking is paid to you. Once this project is complete in a number of years, you look out your door and say, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't realize that was going to happen. At that point, it's too late. So make sure that you have somebody in your corner with experience in cases like this to represent you. We have a team at Bell Carrington standing by, ready to help. We'd invite you to reach out to us through phone, email, or through our website, bellcarringtoneminentdomain.com. We'll be glad to set you up with the right lawyer who can, in real time, dive down into our software, look at your parcel, tell you what we believe the impact is, and ultimately tell you how we think we may be able to help. Again, Michael Gault here on behalf of Bell Carrington, our eminent domain team. I want to thank you for your time and consideration this evening or whenever you're watching this recording, and we hope to hear from you and work with some of you in the future. Thank you. Have a good night.